This is Danny Gould with the Gould team, selling Silicon Valley, back with another Silicon Valley market update, this time for the third week now in April. We're right in the crux, right in the heart here of quarter two. And as we look at the data this week, I think one thing that's really sticking with me right now is things are really starting to play themselves out. I think everything that I was talking about, especially in February and March, with the trend showing a more neutral market, is really starting to play out here in the data and in the numbers that we're seeing countywide. So let's look at the acceleration here in the market. And not just that, but the actives versus pendings countywide. Now, remember, I've talked about this week over week over week, how up until this year, pendings have outpaced actives every year until now, right? And so if you look at the graph, it's going to look something like this, right? So we're right here. We're right here, and that is a leading indicator of a potential correction. Now, keep in mind, potential, right? Because there's still a lot of things that need to happen in order for the data to matriculate into real, live price depreciation. And that's not going to happen overnight. And so if you look at the acceleration here, 79%, way different than 173, right? We're actually fairly good right now, right? So that means that instead of the inventory going zoom like it did last year, we started higher, but then it's taken a less aggressive approach into the spring market, right? So now you can't see my face. Now you can. Look at that. Anyways, so that data right there is very indicative of what's going on right now, right? Things looked at the beginning of the year like, things are going haywire, and then things are starting to really even out, right? The playing field's starting to even out now, right? Are we in a crazy high market right now like we were last year? No. But let's look at the active and the pending heat maps, because this tells us a lot of good information. It's been a few weeks since we actually looked at one of these, but here are the active listings in Santa Clara County for this last week. And so what this does is measure the year over year inventory active in each particular neighborhood. If you see, almost every neighborhood is up around 100%, which means almost every area here is experiencing 1 to 2x the amount of inventory, right? So really 0.5x to 1.5x inventory, right, around these areas. And that's not front page news, right, guys? It's not front page news. This has been the story ever since the beginning of the year, and this has less to do with the fact that we have a lot of inventory this year and more to do with we had almost no inventory last year. Because if you look at the data, and I showed you this last week, if you watched last week's video, if not, go watch last week's video, obviously, you'll notice that last year's active inventory levels was the anomaly, right? Or it was the anomaly in comparison to the year before and the year before that, right? And you can even see that in this number right here, where you look at, active inventory right now, it's very similar. Look, single family homes to 2016. Now, last year, it was a little bit lower. 2017 and 2018, where we really have to pay attention here is the condos and townhomes, because that's where we're experiencing higher than normal active inventory year over year over year. And what that's doing is it's really putting a damper on the condo townhome market, especially since now there's even more single family homes to choose from too. So it's like a double whammy, because obviously this SFRs are more attractive for many reasons, right, than condos and townhomes. And I'm making gross generalizations here, but I have to do that for the sake of, this video. Obviously every single home there's a unique situation there, but I'm talking from a totality, from a holistic perspective. This is what I'm seeing, right? We're really, if you're a condo townhome homeowner right now, if you're not aggressively pricing your condo or townhome, it's going to sit on the market for a long time, period. Okay? Now, let's go to pending listings. Pending listings. Now this is where I think the data is really telling an interesting story. Look at this. In a lot of areas, we're experiencing higher than normal pending levels, right? Higher than last year. Last year was an incredible year. It was a huge year for Bay Area real estate, yet in a lot of these A areas, we are seeing more houses being absorbed. Some of that additional inventory that's being fed into the market, absorbed by the buyers. And that should be very good news if you're a home seller. Now, obviously not in every area this isn't happening. And then I don't know what's going on here in Saratoga, but I think from it's very obvious, right? This should be very good news for people that are thinking about selling their home. But the thing is that you can't just think, right? Because this is pending for right now. Think about in a month what this could look like. This could look totally different. And I expect it to, because I think there's a lot of things going on in the market right now that make it so that in a month we could see a lot of these numbers drop, right, to where they were last year. There's a surge of activity right now, and I'm not sure how much longer that's going to last. And really, guys, that's all I have for you at this point for this week. At the end of the day, what we really need to take into consideration is that the market has neutralized, right? And there are definitely signs, some decent, some positive, encouraging signs here for home sellers, right? But I would say time is definitely of the essence. And if you're a buyer, this sort of data should be really, what's the word I'm looking for here? I'm trying to search for a word. This should be educational, because if you're looking, say, in South San Jose, the story I'm telling might not be the same, right? Or if you're looking in Evergreen, well, the interest level is about the same that there was last year, except there's more inventory now, right? So every area has its own story, and you're going to see that, right? When you go out, on any given day, and actually you're there on the front lines. I'm always giving a really general idea of what the market's looking like, and I hope that you find immense value in what I'm talking about here. If you have any questions, comments, you guys leave them down below. Call me, text me, email me. My phone's always on for you. My email's always on for you. It's Danny Gould with the Gould team, selling Silicon Valley, and I will catch you guys in the next video.